Chapter 10, Description of the Forms of Narasimha Swami. I took the permission of Tirumala Das and continued my travel towards Kurvapuram. As I was recollecting the divine place of Sripada, a tingling thrill of horripilation overtook my body. On the way, I saw a holy Audumba tree at a distance. It was midday. I was very hungry. I thought of collecting alms from a Brahmin village if it was nearby. I thought that I could take rest under the holy Audumba tree and recover from the travel fatigue. I noticed that someone was resting under the shade of the Audumba tree. As I went further, I could see that the person was wearing a holy thread. I came nearer to the Audumba tree. The stranger cordially invited me and asked me to sit down. Compassion was oozing from his eyes. There was a basket before him. There was no food in it. Only a copper vessel was there. He was chanting the name of Sripada Srivallabha frequently. I asked him with eagerness, Sir, are you a devotee of Sripada? Have you seen that great holy person? He said, Sir, I was born in a noble Vaishya family. My name is Subhaya Shreshti. I lost my parents in my childhood. There were abundant heaps of money in my house. I, I was going to distant places and conducting business with many varieties of sales and purchases. I was frequently going to Kanchipura. I developed intimacy in that town with a prostitute by the name of Chintamani. I spent a lot of money lavishly on her. He said, Sir, I was born in a noble Vaishya family. My name is Subhaya Shreshti. I lost my parents in my childhood. There were abundant heaps of money in my house. I was going to distant places and conducting businesses with many varieties of sales and purchases. I was frequently going to Kanchipuram. I developed intimacy in that town with a prostitute by the name of Chintamani. I spent a lot of money lavishly on her. A Brahmin named Bilvamangala of the Palakadu town in Kerala was also visiting Kanchipuram for the purposes of trade. He was selling fragrant materials to Arabs in exchange for diamonds and horses. Sometimes both of us used to join trading activities. Kings and emperors were buying horses of high breed from us. Due to ill luck, both of us had fallen down from virtue because of our contact with the prostitute. For some time, our purchase and sale transactions with Arabs went well. Afterwards, they took lots of money from us, and instead of giving good horses, they gave us very inferior quality horses. We lost heavily in the business. With the losses in business, our properties were also lost. My wife died with mental anguish. I had a son who was mentally unstable. He also met with untimely death. Sri Pitikapuram, with the Padagaya Tirtha, which can be called as the best one among Tirthas, was my native place. On account of my ignorance, I was insulting deities and Brahmins. I was adopting cruel methods to collect repayment of loans. Once a large number of relatives came from Ayanavali village to Sri Appal Raja Sharma's house. Sri Appal Raja did not have sufficient money to arrange boarding with other facilities for all of them. If approached, Sri Srishti would have provided all the materials free of cost as Sri Sharma was their family priest. It would then become a donation. But Sri Appal Radha Sharma did not want to accept any donation. Under unavoidable circumstances, he took articles costing one varaha from my shop on credit. After the departure of the relatives, I harassed Raja Sharma to repay the debt. Raja Sharma replied that he did not have any money with him at that time and that he would definitely clear the debt as soon as money became available. I was an expert in collecting compound interest. Time was passing by. I added interest to interest and prepared bogus calculations. I demanded that Raja Sharma should pay me 10 varahas to settle the dues. Radha Sharma would need to sell away his house if he had to pay that much amount. According to the rates prevailing at that time, I could take over his house and just pay 1 or 2 varahas as the sale price. I was telling this before all people. My resolve was to expropriate Raja Sharma of his house. Pendya Venkatappa Shrishti, who noticed my ill intention, said, "You wicked fellow, you are prattling as you lie, blinded by the arrogance of riches. When you insult our revered family priest in tenth amount to dishonoring us, unless you change your ways, you will be put to heavy loss. By harassing Raja Sharma, who is more pious than a blazing fire, you will fall into Rovara and other kinds of hell." Once Sripada was at the house of Pendya Venkatappa Shrishti. I jeeringly said to Srishti, "If Raja Sharma could not repay my debt, he can send one of his sons to serve in my shop, or he can himself serve there. One son is blind, the second one is lame, and third one, Sripada, is 3 years old. Then how can my debt be cleared?" Pandya Venkatapaya Shrishti was very hurt. Tears were flowing from his eyes like a torrent. Sripada wiped those tears with his divine hands. He said, "Grandfather, why fear when I am here? I am the one who killed Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Will it be difficult for me to redeem the debt of Subaya?" Sripada looked towards me and said, "I will clear your debt. Come on, let's go to your shop. I will serve in your shop and wipe out the debt due to you. After the clearance of the debt, Goddess Lakshmi will not reside in your house. Think carefully." Blinded by pride and very cruel by nature, I agreed to the proposal. Pendya Venkatappa Shrishti carried Sripada on his shoulders and brought him to my shop and said, "Subaya, I will work in your shop in the place of Sripada. Do you agree?" I agreed to it. In the meanwhile, an ascetic with matted hair came to me and asked about the location of Subaya Shrishti's shop. I told him that I was Subaya Shrishti and the shop where we met was actually mine. Then he said, "Sir, I want a copper vessel urgently. It does not matter even if the price is high. If you kindly give me the copper vessel immediately, I will take it and go away." I had 32 copper vessels, but I told him that I had only one copper vessel and that I would part with it if he could give 10 varahas. He readily agreed, but he imposed one condition, that Sripada, who was sitting in the lap of Penda Venkatappa Shrestri, should give the copper vessel with his own hands. Sripada agreed to that. The ascetic received the copper vessel from the hands of Sripada. Sripada laughed. The ascetic, wearing the matted hair, also laughed. Sripada told the ascetic, "Your wish is satisfied. Goddess Lakshmi will stay in your house undisturbed. Give up this ascetic order and return to your home. Your wife and children are waiting for you." The ascetic with the matted hair was full of happiness and left. I wished to put Pendya Venkatappa Shrestri and Appal Radha Sharma to shame. My desire was fulfilled on that day. I proudly said, "Today, with the sale of copper vessel, I got plenty of money. I am of the view that the debt of 10 varahas, which Appal Radha Sharma owed to me, is repaid. Therefore, from this moment on, Sripada is released from bondage." However, Sripanda Venkatappa Shrestri wanted that the statement should be made by swearing on Goddess Gayatri as a witness. Since I was an unfortunate fellow, I did swear on Goddess Gayatri. My boy, Shankar Bhatt, even if a small piece of a copper is received from Avdutar and Siddhar as a token of their grace, the receiver would derive abundant wealth. What a great fortune one was that ascetic. He received from Sripada. The incarnation of Datta, a copper vessel, is a gracious way. I was extremely unfortunate one. From that moment, the spark of Goddess Lakshmi glowing internally in my body, mind, and soul started diminishing. The sportive play of Sripada are unimaginable and unthinkable. Every word uttered in his presence would come true. When I had 32 copper vessels, I lied that I was having only one. Sripada turned my life into a truth. When I checked my shop after the departure of Sripendya Venkatappa Shrestri and Sripada, I found only one copper vessel instead of 31. I showed false accounts that I should get 10 varahas. By this sportive play, Sripada removed some misgivings of Sri Appal Raja Sharma. Dawn and dusk are very sacred times. Worship of fire in the early morning twilight and in the evening twilight yields admirable results. In the early dawn, all the energies of the sun god are ready to prevail. During dusk, all the energies of the sun god retreat and join him. Then I said, Sir, I heard before that by accepting a donation, the merit of good deeds would dwindle. But I heard only from you that the non acceptance of a donation would result in sin. I did not understand this. Not only that, you are telling that Sripada is an incarnation of Sri Dattatreya. People say he is an incarnation of Narasimha and Shiva in different ways. I do not understand how the nature of Anusaya exists internally in Shiva. Kindly explain in detail. Then Subhaya Shrestri said, You are hungry. Sri Vallabh often instructs his disciples to give good water for drinking and good food for eating to anyone who comes to your house seeking food without considering the differences of race and caste. You take meals first. There is a pond nearby. Please come here after cleansing yourself in the pond. In the meanwhile, I will bring 2 plantain leaves from the plantain trees seen yonder. Green cucumber with dal is the curry for the meals. It will be very tasty like a sweet elixir. I was astonished. There was nothing in the basket except for the copper vessel. There was no food, fruits, or vegetable roots. Above all, he was saying that cucumber dal would be available as a dish for the meals. I went to the pond to wash my hands and feet. Subbaya Shrestri went towards the plantain trees. After washing myself, I came back from the pond. Subbaya Shrestri brought 2 plantain leaves. He collected leaves from the nearby palm trees and made small cups from them. I watched this strange happening with wonder. He closed his eyes and meditated for a while. After that, he poured water from the empty copper vessel into the 2 leafy cups. The flow of water from that empty copper vessel was a wonder. From the empty copper vessel, he then served the curry. Then he served rice from the empty copper vessel. Both of us had that sumptuous and very tasty food as a prasad. The copper vessel remained empty as before as we finished our meals. The effect of worship of Lord Shiva during Saturday evening twilight time. Sripada, an embodiment of all deities. Saturn is Karmakara, the one who makes people act. There are 2 shadow planets, Rahu and Ketu. Rahu gives result similar to Saturn. Ketu gives result similar to Mars. Saturn, the Karmakara, is the son of the sun, a witness to all karma. Therefore, evening dusk of Saturday is very powerful. Chaturthi and Trayodashi are strong tithis for Rahu. Hence, an individual who worships Shiva during the great sacred time of Shani Trayodashi during the evening twilight would be completely freed from the results of all heinous sins committed in previous lives. Sripada, incarnated in the star Chitra, presided over by the planet Mars. Therefore, if Sripada is worshipped during the time of the Chitra star, all afflictions of the planets would abate. The planet Mars is the cause for wars, accidents, untimely deaths from weapons and missiles, leading a life with misery and indebtedness. Runa, that is debt, means sin, and Aruna means that which is sinless. During the time of Chitra star or on Tuesday, Sripada shines with crimson color. He remains in the form of Arunachaleshwara on that day. Hence, worshipping Sripada Srivallabha, particularly on Tuesdays with Chitra star, is very auspicious. Pandya Venkatappa Shrishti, Narasimha Verma, and Bapanarya used to participate in the worship of Shiva during Saturday evenings. Appal Radha Sharma also used to observe very strict spiritual discipline on that day. Akhanda Lakshmi Saubhagyavati Sumati Maharani was meditating upon the great aspect of Anusaya, which was indwelling in the form of Shiva. As a result of these great penances, the advent of Sripada took place. Sripada wanted to teach his father silently that on account of the above circumstances, any amount received from Sri Pandya Venkatappa Shrishti, Sri Narasimha Verma, and Sri Bapanarya cannot be construed as a donation. He wanted to make it clear that, on the other hand, it was a great sin not to accept money from them. Shankar Bhatt Sripada is an embodiment of all deities. His nature is a magnificent one which transcends all the forms of deities. Those who saw him, touched by him, and conversed with him are indeed fortunate. Subhaya Shrestri began to narrate. The news that Sripada redeemed his father from debt through this novel method spread like wildfire in Pitikapuram. Sripada was a lad of 3 years. Tears flowed from the eyes of Appal Raja Sharma incessantly. Sumati Maharani hugged her darling son to her bosom and remained for a very long time in a state of trance. Pandya Venkatapaya Shrishti, Narasimha Verma, and Sri Bapanarya came to the house of Appal Raja Sharma. Sripada stated that it is the duty of a son to free his father from indebtedness. I also invited to visit the house of Sri Appal Raja Sharma. I announced in the presence of all elders who assembled there that the debt of Sri Appal Raja Sharma was fully clear. Appal Raja Sharma did not agree to that. Appal Raja Sharma questioned how his debt was repaid when some ascetic came and purchased a copper vessel by paying 10 varahas. Then an interesting discussion took place. Sri Bapanarya asked Sripada, "Do you know that ascetic with matted hair?" Then Sripada replied, "Not only that ascetic, I know about all the ascetics." Nature of Sripada. Bapanarya, you are a boy of 3 years. You are uttering words that are much beyond your age. Are you omniscient? Sripada, you all are thinking that my age is 3 years, but I do not think so. My age is many lakhs of years. I was in existence prior to this creation. I would continue even after the great pralayas. I would be there during the activities of creation, sustenance, and liquidation would not take place without me. I observe all this as a witness. Bapanarya, Sripada, if a small child simply imagines that he is on the moon, it does not mean that he actually is on the moon. One must have direct experience. Omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence are the attributes of the Lord of the universe only. Sripada, I am the primordial nature that steadily exists at all times and at all places. My existence reveals itself in accordance with the particular requirements of a particular time and place. It does not imply that I am not in existence at a particular place merely because I did not reveal myself. I stay in the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya koshas. These koshas carry on their functions only because of my presence. If I give you an experience of my dwelling in a particular kosha, you will feel that I am in that kosha. However, it does not mean that I do not reside in the other koshas simply because I did not give you an experience there. I prevail at all times and at all places. All knowledge and wisdom is at my feet. This creation was formed on the basis of my will. What is there to wonder in saying that I am omnipotent? Appal Raja Sharma, my dear, you are an enigma for us. Since your childhood, you are repeatedly saying that you are Lord Datta. You are also declaring again and again that you would come in another incarnation under the name Narasimha Saraswati. People are like crows. They are commenting in various ways, terming your actions as histrionics, mentally imbalanced idiocy, and willful tricks. We are Brahmins. It is better that we observe the righteous acts prescribed for us. Going beyond that and proclaiming that we are incarnations and divine personages would be considered as arrogance. Sripada. Father, I do not deny what you say. However, I must speak truth only. When the matter of my milk debt came up, I felt entertained. If I ever that I am not Lord Datta, even after the five elements testified that it is so, would I not be guilty of speaking untruth? If someone tells the sun shining in the sky that he is not the sun, will the sun become someone else? Truth is conditioned by space and time. The Brahmins of Pitikapuram are experiencing human nature feeling that they are living bodies and individuals. In the same manner, I am reminding you again and again that I am Datta with omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence as my nature. Yours may pass on. Many worlds may undergo creation, sustenance, and annihilations. But how is it that I, who am Datta himself, cannot be Datta? Bapanarya, Sripada, only one copper vessel remained instead of 31 after the departure of the ascetic. Have you played any trick and caused them to disappear? Sripada, everything will happen due to some cause cropping up from time and fate. No action is possible without a cause. This is a law in nature that cannot be violated. Subhaya Shrishti was a priest in a Datta temple located in a forest region during his previous life. People rarely visited this Datta temple in the forest region. He was mad with lust for women. Obsessed with the desire for women, he sought to sell away the big copper idol of Datta, which was worshipped by his ancestors from ancient times. He gave the money thus received to his mistress. He told people that Datta idol was stolen by the thieves. The ascetic who came here was a goldsmith entangled in worldly affairs in his previous life. In his previous birth as a goldsmith, he melted the statue of Datta out of the greed for money. He is now born in this life as a very poor man. As the priest served the idol of Datta for many years, he is now born in this life in a wealthy family on account of that merit. The idol of Datta, which was melted in their previous lives, was made into 32 copper vessels and was sold. The goldsmith was worshipping Lord Narasimha. He made these copper vessels in the presence of Lord Narasimha. Therefore, on account of the will of God, the essential attributes of 32 incarnations of Lord Narasimha entered into the copper vessels. The ascetic who had knowledge of his previous birth worshipped me with undivided devotion. He prayed sincerely for the removal of his poverty. I appeared in his dream and asked him to come to Pitikapuram. I asked him to receive a copper vessel from my hands, and for that he should pay 10 varahas to Shreshti and thereby free him from the bondage. He did what I instructed him to do and became fortunate. I blessed that his financial problems may be solved in an unimaginable manner. He was moving in the guise of an ascetic to avoid trouble from those who lent him money. Thus, it ought to be clear that I know everything about that ascetic. This Subhaya Shrestri tried to collect 10 varahas from our family unjustly. I arranged 10 varahas to him, but to compensate it, I withdrew all the good fortune earned by him in his earlier life. Subhaya Shrestri, I know of your amorous affairs with Chintamani and all your vulgar and indecent acts. Your story will remain as a comedy in the human history. You will live selling eatables carrying them in a small wooden basket. You will sell them to small children like me. My parents arranged meals to the relatives with the money received from you. I know better than you about the false calculations when determining the interest for the money lent. The money given by you was sufficient just to cook food, dal, and lufa for the relatives. The hard earned money of my father was used to procure other materials for the meals for the relatives. When you meet with a miserable state and you cannot even get food otherwise, this copper vessel will supply you with only water, rice, dal, and lufa. Only that much food sufficient for you to eat and to serve any other would be available. Sripada spoke very strongly. The countenance of Sripada was formidable with divine brilliance. His eyes looked like two globes of fire. Then he said again, Subhaya Shreshti, a buffalo would come to the southern gate of your house this night. That is a message sent by Yamadharma Raja that your death is very near. But I am showing you mercy. Feed that buffalo with the rice, dal, and lufa that was cooked with your own hands. That buffalo has only this wish. After eating, the buffalo would die instead of you. From that moment, you would receive intimation after intimation that you are becoming terribly impoverished. Take the basket and follow my instructions. When you come across a situation where you cannot get even rice, this copper vessel will help you. I show you mercy. Thus spoke Sripada with a stern voice. Venkatappa Shrestri was frightened seeing an angry Sripada. Then Sripada said, Grandfather, are you afraid? I am actually Narasimha Murthy. Let there be no doubt. My nature is that of Sripad and Srivallabha. You are thinking that I will curse the Vaishya caste? You are agitated that I will curse all Vaishyas to become poor, just as Mother Vasavi gave the curse that Vaishyas would have less beauty. Don't fear. God will not differentiate caste and creed. In the same way, a devotee has no differentiation of caste and race. My relationship with Arya Vaishyas is very old. Bapanarya was Labdha Maharshi in the previous Yuga. I am granting you a boon. Even when the lineage of Labdha Maharshi in Vaishyas get extinct, I am blessing the family of Bapanarya till the end of Kali Yuga. I am giving you a different kind of basket. The basket is full of datta sweets. Even when you give those liberally, the stock of sweets will not diminish. This will not be visible to the naked eyes. As all the 32 attributes of Narasimha are in me, mine is the 33rd incarnation. Therefore, during the 33rd generation of your family, during the 33rd generation of Sri Bapanarya's family, and during the 33rd generation of Sri Vasavai Narasimha's family, my Paduka would be installed exactly at the place of my birth in the house of Sri Bapanarya, where I was born. This is my assurance to the families of Vatsavai, Maladi, and Sri Venkatapaya Shrestri. If anybody in your families adores the divine magnificent form of Sripada Srivallabha in any of the traditional ninefold devotions methods, the dogs of Datta would stand as sentinels to them in an invisible form. Vedas, Puranas, and Upanishads constantly protect them as invisible hounds and in other invisible forms. My Paduka will not be installed in Pitikapuram in any other way except the way I said you. I will always be bound to my promise. Our house gets handed down through many hands and will reach your descendants. This will be called as Datta Nilayam. I came in the form of Avduta and asked Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi and gave darshan to Sumati Mata in front of this house. My brother in his next birth will the name Sridhara will be famous as a partial Datta manifestation and will come to this place three times in the form of a dog in a subtle form on Saturday, July 6, 1963, Friday, September 11, 1970, and Wednesday, August 4, 1971, and will accept Bhiksha. After some time, a person of the 33rd generation in the Bapanarya's family will take food in our descendants' house of Datta Nilayam. This is my law. I have the power to fulfill my promise. Then Venkatappa Shrestri hugged Sripada to his bosom. Tears of joy showed from his eyes. Sri Bapanarya was dumbfounded. Mother Sumati fell into doubt whether it was a dream or a divine illusion. Appal Raja Sharma's mind became mute. The two brothers of Sripada were looking at Sripada with awe. They were thinking whether he was their brother or Lord Datta. They wondered at the strange event. There was no limit to my stupidity and habit of ridiculing others. So I said, Sripada, when the rays of Shakti took human form, they were present as the wives of Krishna. Was it not fascination for women? It is said to be a divine play in case of incarnation, but in our case, it is said is to be a fascination for women. What a preconception! Sripada spoke thus. Sri Krishna had 8 wives and 16,000 gopikas. Still, he remained a bachelor celibate. He was not a womanizer as you think. It was not at all a body relationship as you think. They were all wives in terms of the relationship of the soul. The soul that was supported was the wife, and the soul that was providing the support was the husband. What was there more than that? When Devendra was cursed to take a human form, Sachi Devi was born as Draupadi. Devendra assumed five forms and was born as five Pandavas. Even though Draupadi was having five husbands, she had conjugal relation only with Arjuna. Dharma is one thing and subtle dharma is entirely different. Mother Kunti did not have the habit of speaking untruth. Only Arjuna hit the fish in the contest, and Draupadi chose Arjuna only in the contest. A virtuous wife should have six attributes. A figure should resemble Lakshmi. Draupadi had abundant grace. She must have the patience of Mother Earth. Sahadeva knew all the events that were to take place in the future. He knew that the battle between Kauravas and Pandavas had to be fought. But before that, the great event, many other incidents had to occur. There were many sorrowful incidents. Among them, he was extremely vexed whenever he thought about them. Therefore, Draupadi conducted herself with lot of patience when dealing with Sahadeva. Bhima was a glutton. As he was consuming enormous quantities of food, he became very indolent. Therefore, he was lazy even to do his own work. So Draupadi behaved like a servant in her conduct with Bhima. Dharmaraja was the eldest among the Pandavas. Many political problems used to trouble his mind. So Draupadi acted like a minister and offered good advice to him. Nakula was an expert sportsman who used to fight with utmost speed. He was able to wield the sword between two raindrops with such dexterity that it used to not get wet in spite of the rain. Because of the strenuous practice connected with the keen skill in martial arts, he used to become extremely hungry. Draupadi used to prepare tasty food items and serve them to him. The preparations were giving satisfaction to his mind and were suited for his practice of the battlecraft. Just as a mother would understand the preferences of her child and serve eatable victuals without his asking, Draupadi used to deal with Nakula. She used to keep Arjuna happy in providing conjugal bliss. She was excelling Ramba in the art of the comfort of the bed. Though she had five husbands, she gave the comfort of bed only to Arjuna without breaking dharma. Subhaya Shrishti, your concubine Chintamani, gave sexual pleasure not only to you, but also to Bilva Mangala and many others as well. When you visit Panakala Narasimha Swami in Mangalgiri of Guntur region, you will come across Chintamani and Bilva Mangala there due to causes of time and fate. You will bring them to Pitikapuram. Then I will preach you all about righteousness. Then Sri Narasimha Varma took Sripada into his lap. Sripada said to Sri Varma, Grandpa, we will go in your horse carriage tomorrow and visit our farmlands. Mother Earth there has been praying me eagerly for many days. Lord Sripada, will you not make me holy with a touch of your feet? You have the title of Savior of the suffering, is it not? Then Sri Verma said, My dear Sripada, I have a small request. We have our lands near Sri Pitikapura. I want to form a village there and have the fields cultivated by those villagers. I want to give those lands to the villagers for a low rate of lease. I would like to appoint your father as the village official to supervise the affairs of that estate. Your family does not have the village official post for Ayanavali now. Is it not? Sripada laughingly said, Grandfather, you thought about your village office, but you did not think about my office. This is not acceptable to me. First, you will ask me to work as that village official. In such a case, the history will record only that Gandhikota Sripad Srivallabha Sharma was a mere official of a particular village, but my office extends over the whole universe. I keep my own accounts. Every day, crores of heaps of punya, diamonds, and ornaments are expended. The purpose of my incarnation is to move the kundalini of the universe. Villages, towns, and holy places also have kundalinis in the same way as individuals. This secret yoga can only be understood by those who know the Sandra Sindhu Veda. The Kundalini of Pitikapuram can be shaken only in the 33rd generation of Bapanarya. Penda Venkatappaya Shreshti and Vatsavai families. Why hurry now? Make the best use of every moment of this great sacred opportunity that is fortunately available to you. My dear Shankar Bhatt, Sri Narasimha Varma tried to keep Sripada in Pitikapuram permanently in this way. The glory of Sripada. Ignorance of a high degree was in me. As Sripada declared that he was verily Sri Krishna himself, I questioned out of ignorance in a jeering tone, Sripada, you are saying that you are Krishna. Then are you having 8 wives and 16,000 gopikas in this incarnation also? Then Sripada said with a smile, my eightfold nature represents 8 wives. My incarnation is the one with 16 comprehensive potencies. Every minute, powerful vibrations emanate in all 10 directions from the body and mind of this divine supreme soul called Sripāda Srivallabha incarnation. In this manner, 10 into 10 into 10 is equal to 1000 vibrations get released each minute for each potency from my body, mind, and Atma. Like this, from out of the 16 potencies, a total of 16,000 pulsations emanate each minute. All these are my 16,000 gopikas. In the previous incarnation, all of them took human form. In this incarnation, they remain formless but dynamic and vibrating. There is nothing wrong even if my various forms of divinity are worshipped. It amounts to worshipping me. One can adore my Shiva form, Vishnu form, or Brahma form. Likewise, one can worship the different form of God within me. Several kind of spiritual practices, different stages of progress by the spiritual seekers, and causes of time and action influence the evolution of life. Sripada explained thus. Narasimha Varma had a vision of 32 forms of Narasimha. They were first Kundappa Narasimha Murti, second Kopa Narasimha Murti, third Divya Narasimha Murti, fourth Brahmananda Narasimha Murti, fifth Samudra Narasimha Murti, sixth Vishwarupa Narasimha Murti, seventh Veera Narasimha Murti, eighth Krura Narasimha Murti, ninth Bibhasta Narasimha Murti, 10th Rudra Narasimha Murti, 11th Dhumra Narasimha Murti, 12th Vani Narasimha Murti, 13th Vyagra Narasimha Murti, 14th Bidala Narasimha Murti, 15th Bhima Narasimha Murti, 16th Patala Narasimha Murti, 17th Akasha Narasimha Murti. 18th Vakra Narasimha Murti. 19th Chakra Narasimha Murti. 20th Sankha Narasimha Murti. 21st Sattva Narasimha Murti. 22nd Adbhuta Narasimha Murti. 23rd Vegha Narasimha Murti. 24th Vidharana Narasimha Murti. 25th Yogananda Narasimha Murti. 26th Lakshmi Narasimha Murti. 27th Bhadra Narasimha Murti. 28th Raja Narasimha Murti. 29th Vallabh Narasimha Murti. Later, he saw Sripāda Srivallabha as the 30th Narasimha Murti, the incarnation of Sri Narasimha Saraswati as the 31st Narasimha Murti, and Swami Samartha living in Sri Prajanapura as the 32nd Narasimha Murti. The story of Srinivasa. My dear one, tomorrow is a very sacred day. It is a month of Kanya and the star is Ravana. On Monday, during Dwadashi and Siddha Yoga time, Sri Venkateshwara emerged as an adorable form. In the year Vilambi during Vaishak Shuddha Saptami, he obtained monetary assistance from Kubera and executed a loan instrument. Sri Padmavati Devi was born in Mrigashira star and Srinivasa was born in Shravana star. The marriage of Srinivasa took place in the month of Vaishak on Shuddha Dashmi day in Uttara Falguni star. Lord Srinivasa also incarnated in the lineage of Bharadwaj. Akash Maharaj was born to a snake named Tu Sudhanva of the Pandava family. Thondaman was his brother. Vasudhanu was also a son of Akasha Raj. On the advice of sage Agastya, Lord Srinivasa divided the kingdom equally to Vasudhanu and Thondaman. Thus spoke Subhaya Shreshti. Subhaya Shreshti said to me, "Take rest today. We will chant the divine name of Sripāda Srivallabha all throughout the night. Tomorrow is very sacred day according to the science of astrology. Tomorrow I will narrate the extremely amazing sportive plays of Sripada. I will explain how Chintamani and Bilva Mangala were brought to Pitikapura, how Sri Guru showed them mercy, how a village was built as a mark of the strange plays exhibited by Sripada in the fields of Sri Narasimha Varma, and how that village became famous by the name Chitrada. I will also explain in detail about the strange and peculiar things to happen in future times and about the sportive plays of Sripada before his final incarnation as Kalaki. Having said that, he took me to a cottage nearby. There were two mats made of leaves of a date tree. Four dogs of high breed were standing guard to the cottage. The fruits of meditation of Sripada. The divine plays of Sripada are not accomplished by others. They are appealing to the heart in a very happy manner. By simply remembering him, heaps of sins amassed from many births will be burned to ashes. Victory unto Sri Sripāda Srivallabha. Sripada Rajam Sharanam Prabhate.